Donald Trump faces a historic impeachment vote in the House of Representatives after the House Judiciary Committee approved 2 articles of impeachment against him. For the third time in the last half-century, committee members voted on Friday to impeach a sitting president, this time on charges of abuse of power for withholding $391 million, £304 million, in military aid to Ukraine in order to force the Ukrainian president to investigate one of Mr. Trump's political rivals, and with obstruction of Congress for his administration's blanket refusal to cooperate with the House's impeachment inquiry. The panel's vote to approve articles of impeachment against Mr. Trump comes nearly 21 years to the day after it approved articles of impeachment to charge President Bill Clinton with 2 counts of perjury, 1 count of obstruction of justice, and 1 count of abuse of power. The House is expected to approve both articles of impeachment against Mr. Trump when they are brought up for a vote next week. The committee vote broke down along party lines, with not one Republican voting to approve either article of impeachment. No Republicans are expected to do so when the full House takes up the articles either. That vote that could come as early as Tuesday, but is expected to take place on Wednesday after the House considers a bill to fund the federal government for the 2020 fiscal year. The only Democrat on the committee to not vote for either was Representative Ted Lieu of California, who is recovering from a medical procedure. Committee members had been expected to vote on both articles during a Thursday session to consider amendments to the impeachment resolution. But just after 11 p.m. on Thursday, committee chairman Gerald Nadler surprised both colleagues and spectators alike by declaring the session in recess and ordering that committee reconvene on Friday morning. A Judiciary Committee staffer told The Independent that Mr. Nadler chose to postpone the vote in the interests of transparency. Republican Judiciary members have complained about process and transparency, yet apparently wanted to force the committee to vote on articles of impeachment in the dark of night. In the interests of doing our constitutional duty in a transparent way for the American public, the chairman scheduled the vote of the articles for 10 a.m. Friday morning, the staffer said. Immediately following the votes, Judiciary Committee Republicans took to a nearby bank of television cameras to denounce the entire process as a partisan sham. "This is really a sad day, big show, everybody got dressed up, really no place to go," said Texas's Louis Gohmert, who complained that the real abuse of power was on the part of the Democrats. "There were all kinds of abuses of power, perhaps none more than in the House of Representatives by the majority," said Mr. Gohmert, who enumerated a list of Trumpian bête noire from across the federal government's law enforcement and intelligence apparatus. "This is an outrage. It sets the bar for any president of any party for the future to go through 3 years of hell like this president had," he continued, adding that he hoped the Republican-controlled Senate would call Intelligence Committee Chairman Adam Schiff as a witness. Debbie Lesko, from Arizona, said she had never seen such an unfair, rigged, railroad job against the President of the United States in her life, and accused Democrats of tearing the country apart by impeaching Mr. Trump with no proof, no evidence, no crime. But Democrat Steve Cohen told The Independent Friday was a big day that will be remembered as a day that certain people stood up for the Constitution, the Founding Fathers, and the rule of law.